First of all, we got involved in helping Ukraine very quickly after the Russian invasion. And let me be clear to everybody who's watching, it was Russia that invaded. Not NATO, not Ukraine. Russia invaded, and Russia continues this war. So we started supporting Ukraine with a group of small Christian NGOs, nonprofits like ours. And as of today, we've delivered about 16 million pounds of relief supplies to the war zones of southern and eastern Ukraine. And about 2.5 years ago, we saw that the need was just escalating dramatically. And there was donor fatigue. People get tired, right? And so we decided, let's do this book. We thought it would take us about 1 year. And it actually took us 2 years because the book is really a labor of love. 280 pages, 310 beautiful, beautiful images. And we try to cover the history, the culture, the people, the art forms of Ukraine to give a really good understanding of the Russian invasion and why we need to support Ukraine. So I think we put together a good book, I hope and pray. It was really my son who said, Dad, we got to do a book on Ukraine. Hopefully we can help Americans better understand the truth about Ukraine, not just the garbage that you're hearing from the Kremlin all the time. I just want to say, when you hear from someone like Tucker Carlson or Laura Ingraham, and you hear that Vladimir Putin is a great man, and you hear that it was really NATO that started this war, those are lies. Okay, those are lies. And right now we know that last year the Kremlin spent over 1.2 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars on disinformation, propaganda, lies, and they're all over the place. So you've got to be careful. You've got to do your own research, use your brain. And as I know you do, we hope that the book helps people understand. We've done a tremendous amount of research. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of footnotes in the back. There's even more on the website. So, by the way, if you're interested, you can get this book at Amazon or go to our website, portraitsofukraine.org. Please get a copy, or if you know someone who's anti-Ukraine, buy them a copy, right? All the profits go to good pro-Ukrainian charities, which we're happy about, and we hope that we're having some impact here in the United States, especially in Washington, D.C. Every single senator, every single congressman or congresswoman will be getting a free copy of this book because we hope that it will help them to understand what is the truth about Ukraine. I love the whole book, I really do. I love to read, I love history, so I'm biased, and of course I love Ukraine. But my favorite part is Voices of Ukraine. And Voices of Ukraine, we take real people, real world folks, a paramedic, a very famous chef from Kiev. These are the folks that we have featured in the Voices of Ukraine chapter, and they give what's happened to them in the war. One heartbreaking story is a young lady who is engaged to be married to a gentleman who I believe is a lawyer. He decided to volunteer the first day, right, the day of the Russian invasion. He volunteered and he was killed a few months later. So tragic stories, and we've got a lot of those stories, but it really shows the strength, the courage, and the can-do spirit of the Ukrainian people in real life. And I love this chapter. I love all the chapters, but I love that chapter. And of course, why support Ukraine? If you can only read one chapter, read the 10th, chapter 10, the last chapter, why support Ukraine. And if you disagree with me, let me know. I just want to say Slava Ukraini. You know, the heroes of this book are the people of Ukraine, right? We can think about our forefathers almost 250 years ago fighting the British for independence. For what? For freedom, for democracy, and the rule of law. For 250 years, America has stood for freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. We've supported countries that have been attacked, again, like Nazi Germany. We stepped in and we supported Poland and France and England and all the European nations that were under attack. Japan bombed us in Pearl Harbor, boom, declared war and defeated those fascist powers. Now we have Vladimir Putin, who is running a sole dictatorship. He says, well, why wasn't Zelensky elected recently? Why wasn't there election? Hey, Vlad, don't you remember? You haven't had a real election in 25 years. You took power, and then you've had these sham elections where you get 98% of the vote. Come on, let's be realistic. You're a dictator. You've always been a dictator. You don't care about how many of your people die. You just care about your own personal power and wealth and influence. By the way, you go to St. Petersburg and you openly criticize Vladimir Putin, you're going to be a free man for less than 24 hours. You want to live in that kind of world? I don't. So let's support Ukraine. Let's support our brothers there. Let's support freedom, democracy, and the rule of law.